Okay, here we are in another replay submitted by my pal Dutchy, and this is him going to be against, actually, this is Wallace in the Blue Infernal here. And Wallace is also another highly ranked Infernal on the ladder. I've seen him in a couple of tournaments. And as I already mentioned, this is my buddy Dutchy in the Red Infernal. And these two also, I think, have I don't know if they have practiced together, but I know they've talked about practicing together at some point, practicing their IVIs. So I think this was a ladder match, though. And again, they have matched up many times on ladder, as Wallace is, as I mentioned, pretty high up on the leaderboards. No Hexen on Hexen violence. These two are cousins, and they're like, I will not shoot my little magic bolt at your face. That's kind of them. But yeah, Wallace is fairly high on the ladder. I can't remember exactly whereabout he is. And I know they've matched up a few times as Dutchy's been rising in the ladder. And I think Wallace has been a regular challenge for him. Dutchy gets to play many of the top players because he's sort of at the bottom of the Master. I think he's at Master 3 right now. And that means he's meeting up with Master 1 players all the time. Now, they both scouted each other, again, peacefully because the Hexens are cousins, as I mentioned. I did learn that earlier on. And we'll see how that materializes later in the game. But for now, they are content to just creep on their side of the map. And so, Wallace here creeping out his speed camp. And actually, Dutchy, I said creeping on their side of the map, but he's actually content to not creep at all. His Hexen is so peaceful, she's not even going to creep. But I think that's because what we see here is a much earlier shrine. I think that wasn't a shrine first, the conclave, of course, already being done. But I think Dutchy did delay the production of his gaunts. He put down another conclave too. It's a little bit slower on the creeping. Which means we already have Wallace creeping at the Vision Camp with the help of some Fellhogs spawned on his meat farm. I just had a strange idea. What if the Fellhogs are actually the farmers? They're not the meat that's being farmed. Now, what would they be farming there? I don't know. Although, I don't know if that story checks out because these poor boys get chomped down on so often by mags and weavers that I think they are the meat. I'm sorry. Maybe one day in the future there will be meat farms where the Fellhogs are free to roam. But maybe we'll wait for Stormgate 2. Stormgate 2 will have the free range Fellhogs. Free range Fellhogs that everybody wishes that we had. It's still solo creeping so far. Again, Dutchy a little bit behind in this creeping. Wallace has creeped almost all of the easy camps, I'll call them. Although this camp, the energy camp and the vision camp, we might call sort of middling or a little more challenging. And is now moving out to the tougher camps, or maybe out to jack some camps from Dutchy. I was like, that's a fiend there. Now, where is Dutchy's army? It's got... Oh, there it is. It was hiding on me, but it's creeping the energy camp. And Wallace is... Yeah, as I said, creeping out the tough camps now. Got the Luminite camp, and as I also predicted, possibly going to jack the Vision camp. And as we've seen in some of these other IVI games from Dutchy, he's sticking almost solely on Gaunt Tech to start. I imagine he might also move into Weavers if needed. And Wallace taking the Vision Camp, and now it looks like being a little bit aggressive. And he might be able to get some advantage here. I'm not sure. Maybe the extra added creep income will be enough. Although a couple of his fiends getting caught off, and I think Dutchy catching wind of this and now turning his army around. Maybe both of them not sure if this is exactly what they want to do. Dutchy actually using some skulls here to get some good scouting on Wallace's army. And scouting information like that is always helpful. I think one of the skulls actually captured this camp. And maybe, oh, there's a fiend there that captured this one as well. So Dutchy has been active on the map with his units to try and gain control of some of these camps. Even though he's a little slower in creeping, he's now creeping out this camp as well. And other than the Jack camp, that brings him even. Now we might get a little bit of engagement. So Wallace has moved all the way back around to his side. And he's going to push in here. Now I'm pretty sure Plague Axes is done for both. We saw the Ritual Chamber was up early here. Do we have Reaper's Rush almost done? Which is actually pretty fast. We're at the 6-minute mark. Reaper's Rush around the 6-minute, I think, is pretty fast. I'm not sure if that's necessarily like the fastest you can get it up, but a 6-minute Reaper Rush definitely seems early. Now, ooh, a Nightfall Infestation, but those Reaper Rush Gaunts managed to actually escape there. Which was good, but I don't know if they have the advantage in this battle. There's a lot of fiends there. I think a lot of them were, yeah, split brews. A good Nightfall Infestation going down on those Gaunts. And now pushing forward with the Shroud and the Plague Axes. So many infested Gaunts there, and many of them are low. The Fiend's actually running away, and now the Gaunt advantage is in Dutchy's. I didn't see there, but I think a lot of reinforcements just showed up. And now Dutchy's actually chasing Wallace all the way back to his base, and that's going to be a GG from Wallace.